What's up? I'm Orion Surfs. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the Wingsurfer kit by Naish. That's this beauty right here. Comes also with a wing. I just started foiling pretty recently. It's only been a few months. I used to surf for many years before that. I'm sure you've seen my channel. If you haven't, check it out. I moved to a landlocked location where I can drive to the surf, but it's a bit of a drive, so I decided to take up wing foiling because there is some wind and tons of beautiful lakes around here. So I am new to this, but this is a beginner setup, so I figure it's perfect for me to review it because it's beginner to beginner. Sometimes you see experts reviewing beginner gear and obviously they're gonna say it's crap, don't bother with it. But in this case, it's for beginners, so keep that in mind. So this board's 112 liters. I weigh about 80 kilos, so the general guide is to do 30 to 50 liters higher than your weight in kilos. So I went with the 112, which is 32, so on the lower end, but I figured with my surfing background and everything it would work out, and it did. The foil is massive. This is a 1840 surface area. For those of you that are new, this is just a crazy sport with all kinds of tech, and you'll learn eventually. Basically, it's a huge wing, this piece here, so it's super easy to get flying to lift you off, and it's very forgiving. The downsides are it turns really slowly and it's really big and chunky, but that's also an upside because it's for beginners. On the tail here, you actually have two different placements. I rode it only about 2 times on the further back placement here because I just found it was too slow and I wanted some more looseness, so I moved this forward, and that actually helped a lot, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. Besides that, this board is amazing. It's wide, so it's a bit beginner in that sense. I kind of wish it was narrower because then I wouldn't bog the rails on turns as much when there are waves. But again, for the purpose of this board, it's fulfilling exactly what is needed, which is to get you standing on it and balancing and able to manipulate the wing without having to worry about tipping and falling off your board. It's pretty light, super easy to manipulate, easy to set up. I usually leave it, it's got a bunch of bolts. It's the classic bolt system. I usually leave the mast on. This is a 75 centimeter mast that comes with it. Is a pretty good all-rounder. I want to upgrade to an 85 because we do get waves where I am, and I find just having to pump up and down over the waves is kind of annoying. I'd rather that extra 10 centimeters height, but I can totally make do with this. The one thing with this setup that I notice, and that's because it comes at a really good price point for beginners, is that it's really sloppy. Like if you look at the flex on this, that's a lot of flex. So that's not something you generally want in your foil, because when you're riding up in the air, if you bend your board and then this bends before you turn, there's a lot of play involved, and sometimes if you really kick into it, it'll flex, and then it'll flex suddenly back when it straightens out, and that can throw you off balance or knock you off or whatever. So again, you're not gonna get into a foil that is stiff though without spending like double or spending just the price of the foil for this entire kit. So I don't really see that as a downside either, and it's just part of the game. You do end up paying a little more for super stiff foils, and when I started I didn't care about that. Now I do, so at a certain point I will have to upgrade, but it is something to know about if you look at that flex. It is, however, super solid, and I've never had any problems with it just cruising or being worried about it. And honestly, because this thing maxes out at about 25 kilometers an hour, if I go perpendicular to the wind and really give her, my max speed has been 35, I think. At 35, for sure, you can feel it wobbling a bit. But in general, when you're riding, you're going like 20 to 25 kilometers an hour with this foil. And I've had no issues with this wobbliness. It just kind of works because of the speed. If you're gonna push it, again, that's where you'll feel it. Or if you're doing really aggressive turns, which I'm not really doing right now. At this point where I'm at, it's not affecting me. I'm jibing a little bit, not all the time, maybe 50% of the time success, and I'm doing lots of S turns, cruising, riding switch, all of that. At that point where you're just kind of going at the speed of the foil, no problems at all. What else can I say? The tail, you can look up the surface area and dimensions of the tail and the mast and everything online. Again, the surface area of the front wing is 1840, the back one is 310, so they're both huge, which is fine for beginning. Later on, you're gonna find it slows you down. But honestly, for me, I found that because of this foil and this board, I was able to progress so much faster that it made it totally worth it, because now I'm able to upgrade and I have a solid base on all these skills that I wouldn't have if I had tried with a shorter, lighter, narrower, sketchier board and foil as well, which is faster for sure, but not what I needed to get started. So this is the wing. I'm not an expert on wings. I do know that this is not your super entry-level wing. For example, it is a relatively modern wing with the handles, and it's a 5-meter size, so that's a good all-round wing. I ended up purchasing an 8-meter for where I live as well, because on the light days, we get a lot of light days, and that helps me get flying and have a lot of fun, even when the wind's light. But this is my go-to wing for like when it's pretty solid, I guess 10 to 30 knot wind. I find no problem with this. I do get overpowered above 30 knots. But again, I would do your own research on this and actually look into actual advanced riders and what they say. But for a beginner, you're gonna want stronger wind anyway. So this is a good wing for stronger wind. Ideally 10 to 15 knots or more, 10 to 20. And yeah, it's super stiff, has a good shape, easy to manipulate with the two handles like this. I find they're well spaced. I don't have trouble grabbing them. Yeah, maybe a boom would be nice at some point, but I like the two handles for now. It's easy to pack up. This pumps up with a regular paddleboard pump, the kind that twists in, and that does not come with the kit. So if you do buy this kit from Naish, make sure you pick up their pump as well, or get one on Marketplace or wherever you get your pumps. Thanks again for tuning into the channel. I'm Orion Surfs. Most of it was surfing before, now I'm also foiling. Basically, I'm just transitioning into anything outdoor adventure. I live in BC now, which is gorgeous, epic mountains, peaks, lakes, ocean, we have it all. So keep in touch. If you haven't seen my ice surfing documentary, check that out. We won Best Short Film at International Surf Festival International de Surf Anglais. It's a surf festival in France. We won Best Short Film there, super proud of that. And we went to a bunch of other film festivals and had an amazing run, and now it's finally on my YouTube channel for everyone to enjoy. So check that out and shred on. Thanks for being here.